the network of ministry innovators.
There you go. What this man said. This is Frank Lowe. He's from Diocese, Georgia, and he is a church planter.
I am. And this group came out of an idea at 815 to see what they could do about finding best practices and encouraging them, particularly in church starts and redevelopments. This group got together in October of last year together with the Black Ministers Conference, and we really benefited from that setting and what was going on in our African American churches, how they were encouraging best practices together with what we were doing in other places, new church starts, church redevelopments, that sort of thing.
But you didn't plan on it to happen that way.
No, we didn't. It just felt that way, and it was good.
This is Susan Smith. She's from the Diocese of Arizona, and she was at that conference too. What were the surprises there?
That was a wonderful conference because it was great for me to learn that there were other church planters out there who were doing kind of the same thing as I was doing and confronting the same difficulties, the same challenges, and coming up with all different creative ways to deal with them. So I made a lot of wonderful friends and heard about great things that people were doing and good things that I could come back and adopt, and I've formed this great network of people that I can always call on. It's really neat.
Do you think many people in the church know that there are people out there who are doing church planting? I mean, it's just not the time.
It's secret. Sometimes it is. And we can get where people will say, well, why would you plant two churches if we can't support the ones we have? But we find that new birth can bring about wonderful things. And it's not just for the churches themselves, but even the churches in their area.
That is true in research. The churches in the area around the church plant also increase in all of the churches together.
Folks out there getting the soil work and stuff, and a lot of times somebody may get interested in coming to teach, but really we're doing something different in a way to reach out to the church that's not for them, but we got them away from their house into the church, and then they go on to look at the church 10 miles down the road that's more traditional, and that's a win for everybody.
And they get fired up about church.
Right, exactly. So it's fun. But one of the things we found at the conference was how important mentoring is, coaching. A lot of times it's done in church, it's not done. It's kind of unusual because you think a professional ball player, every time they play, you think they need a coach on the field, but for clergy, we just turn them loose and they're going to be all right by themselves. So that was my marketing. I don't know.
Well, I just wanted to say about church plants in general that one thing that we can do is go to places where the people are, new communities that are forming, and new kind of constituencies of people that are coming together in new places and do things in different ways. So that when a church is planted in a community, it really does generally mean that the total number of Episcopalians in that community really mushrooms, really go off. And so it really is an exciting industry to be in because we have a chance to reach people and watch lives being transformed. And it's wonderful.
This is Denise Otis, who's the Director of Music at St. Mark's in the Bowery in New York City. Tell us a little bit about what you do and why it's innovative, Denise.
Why is it important? Because we're trying to really... It's funny, today I saw this printout of the meetings about with the prayer book class about being inclusive. And so we're innovative, but we're really trying to that overcome clear mandate. Being inclusive, be authentic, and use all of that to glorify the praise of God, under the songs.
What does that look like in your church on a typical Sunday morning?
Well, actually, we're eclectic, so it changes. You'll get a slight flavor. And when I go to St. Mark's this coming Sunday, I have a guy from India who plays the tablet and do meditation. And last week, I had a woman, Ellen Mandel, who's actually from the Jewish tradition, who writes based on poetry. You might have gospel music. You might have Celtic music. That praise, oriented, but comes from different traditions, and hopefully it's done really well so that it moves people.
Hi, Tom. This is Tom Brackett, the Reverend Tom Brackett, who's Program Officer at the Episcopal Church Center for Church Planting. He's the man.
And I came from Maine.
That's even better.
And happy to say that when people say, where did you go to seminary, I'm really happy to say Bangor Theological Seminary, but I went to finishing school at Boston. Glad to be here.
Tell us a little bit about the work you do, Tom.
I work with church planters and ministry innovators around the church, and I work specifically in the areas of helping people develop new ministries as well as redevelop existing ministries in decline. And I spend a lot of time reminding people that what we call resources, we really need to be calling relationships and relations. And I actually learned that most of all in Maine. As a matter of fact, I mostly learned that from women in Maine, to tell you the truth. And so I take Maine with me everywhere I go in the community that I have. I think back on the way that children taught me to connect with people instead of calling them or writing them to make a point of going to see them in person. And that's what I do now throughout the church. I connect with people to say, how can we support you in the innovative ministry that you're offering?